All right, so we've been talking about Pleiadian wisdom and their telepathic consultations, and I gotta say, it's always pretty mind-blowing stuff.
It really is.
Right. This time they're dropping some serious knowledge bombs about spiritual awakening,
Oh, yeah.
like the actual signs and experiences of what it means to be spiritually awakened.
Definitely. Not just the, feel good stuff, but like
Right.
what it
Exactly.
really looks like.
So how did the Pleiadians even define spiritual awakening?
Well, they're really clear about it. They're very adamant. It's not about like achieving some kind of superhuman state or
Right.
having all the answers. It
Yeah.
actually boils down to something much simpler. It boils down to being centered in love.
Okay.
And that's not just like
Hmm.
feeling love, it's about radiating it as a core frequency.
So interesting.
Think about like joy, bliss, even this kind of radiant energy that people around you can sense.
Okay, that makes sense, but it doesn't sound easy.
It's not always easy, but it's definitely a process.
Yeah. Do they talk about how that like translates to everyday life?
They do, and this is where it gets really interesting. They
Okay.
say awakened individuals are driven to serve others,
Okay.
but not in a like self-sacrificing way.
Hmm.
It's about finding that sweet spot
Yeah.
where your passions and your desire to make a difference actually intersect.
Oh, so it's not about like forcing myself to volunteer at a soup kitchen if that's not my jam.
Exactly. Like they're not saying you have to,
Yeah. Yeah.
fit into some kind of mold or do things
Yeah.
that don't feel good to you. They emphasize that true service comes from a place of joy and excitement,
Okay.
not obligation or guilt.
That's interesting.
They actually caution against
Yeah.
sacrificing your own well-being to help others
Yeah.
because ultimately that's unsustainable
Hmm.
and less effective.
I like that because it feels like so much spiritual teaching focuses on putting other people first,
Right.
even to our own detriment.
And they're really pushing back on that. They're saying that you got to have balance.
Hmm.
Self-acceptance is a huge part of awakening,
Oh, interesting.
like accepting yourself fully
Okay.
with all your quirks and your imperfections and all of that.
Yeah.
And it's from that place of self-love that you can actually awaken love in others.
Right. It's like you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
Got to fill yourself up first.
Exactly.
Yeah, before you can share with others.
Yeah.
So are they saying there's like one type of awakened person?
No, they're very clear about this.
Okay.
There is no one type. You could be a CEO. You could be a stay-at-home parent. You could be someone who like has never even thought about this stuff before.
Okay. So it's not about fitting into some like predetermined mold.
No,
Like,
it's much more individual than that.
okay, good, good.
Yeah. And they also debunk this idea
Well,
that you have to be in some like mystical location
oh,
to
that's right.
awaken.
Yeah, like up in the mountains.
Right. They're like, no, this is happening everywhere.
Real?
Even in places where spiritual ideas are suppressed or ridiculed.
So like even in places where the government is trying to shut those ideas down?
Absolutely.
Wow.
They say it's like a natural counterbalance,
Hmm.
The more those in power try to control
Yeah.
and limit spiritual awareness,
Right.
the stronger the urge for awakening becomes.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's like a seed that gets planted deeper and grows with even more resilience.
So it's like it's happening regardless of what's happening around it.
Yes,
Wow. That's actually really hopeful.
it is.
Yeah, like it's almost like it can't be stopped.
Exactly.
So for those who are wondering how their own awakening might be impacting others,
Mm-hmm.
what do they say about that?
They have some interesting advice.
Okay.
They say pay close attention to how others react when you're around.
Okay.
And here's the kicker. Sometimes getting a negative reaction can be a good sign.
Wait, so if someone gets angry with me, it means I'm like super spiritually evolved.
Not quite.
Okay.
But they say it could mean your energy
Yeah.
is so high vibe
Hmm.
that it's actually pushing those around you
Okay.
to face stuff they'd rather avoid.
Like I'm making them uncomfortable.
It's like you're holding up a mirror.
Right.
Sometimes people don't like what they see reflected back at them,
Yeah.
and that can trigger a defensive reaction.
So it's not about like me feeling superior. It's like I'm just being me and it's causing this reaction.
It's more about understanding that your presence
Yeah.
can be a catalyst for growth,
Right.
even if it's uncomfortable for some people at first.
Okay, what about the positive side? Yeah.
On the flip side, they say you'll probably notice more positive signs too.
Mm,
People feeling lighter, happier, or more open around you.
Okay.
And that's a sign that your energy is actually creating a ripple effect of joy and connection.
Ooh, I like that. Like it's like a feedback loop.
It is. It is.
The more we embody this awakened energy, the more it impacts those around us
Right.
and hopefully inspires them to tap into their own potential.
Exactly. Exactly.
So speaking of impacting people,
Yeah.
how do they say this awakening impacts how we view death itself?
That's a big one, right?
Yeah, because I think a lot of people are kind of uncomfortable with that topic.
Definitely.
So what do they say about that?
Well, they say the fear of death tends to lessen
Okay.
because awakened individuals actually remember their soul nature.
Interesting.
It's like they have this inner knowing that their true essence extends far beyond this physical body and this earthly lifetime.
So it's not that they become reckless or disregard their life.
Right.
It's that they just have a deeper understanding.
Yeah, they understand
It's not the end.
that death is not the end.
Mm-hmm.
They see it as a transition
Okay.
to a different state of being, not an ending.
Okay, yeah.
And this perspective helps them cope with loss and challenges more easily
Yeah.
because they have this deep trust
Okay.
in a bigger picture, in a cosmic plan that extends beyond
Yeah.
our limited human understanding.
So it's like when you zoom out,
Yes.
you can see the whole picture better.
Exactly. Exactly.
And they connect this perspective to the concept of soul agreements,
Yeah.
which can be a little mind-bending,
It can.
right? It's the idea that before we're born,
Uh-huh.
we actually choose certain experiences for our soul's growth.
That's right.
Right.
That's the idea.
Okay, so and here's where it gets really interesting, right?
Yeah.
The Pleiadians suggest that some souls actually choose
Mm-hmm.
to experience limitations,
Right.
even physical challenges,
Yep.
as part of their soul agreement.
That's right.
Wait, so you're saying some people choose to be sick or disabled?
It's a challenging concept to wrap your head around.
Especially if we're talking about spiritual awakening.
Right.
Like it seems kind of counterintuitive.
It does. It does go against
That
our typical,
understanding.
of what's good or bad.
Right, exactly.
So how do they explain that?
Well, they explain that sometimes these limitations are chosen as a way to serve as expressions
Okay.
of unconditional love, peace, and serenity. It's like they're showing us that profound beauty and strength can exist even in the midst of
Yeah.
what we might perceive as imperfections or limitations.
Right. Okay.
It's a really,
That's a lot to process, I mean.
it is.
It's one thing to say, okay, I choose my life lessons,
Uh-huh.
but to choose to choose physical challenges like that seems like a whole other level.
It's a different level,
Yeah.
but they're emphasizing that from a soul perspective.
Yeah.
It's all about growth and evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes those lessons
Yeah.
are learned in the most unexpected ways.
Okay.
And they're not saying this to justify suffering.
But rather to offer a different lens
Yeah.
through which to view those experiences.
So it's not about denying the pain or hardship.
Right.
It's about seeing it as part of a larger tapestry,
Exactly.
a cosmic design that's ultimately leading us toward greater awareness.
Yes. Yes. And then they bring this perspective
Yeah.
to the discussion of religion.
Okay, that could be another tricky topic
It can.
when you're talking about spiritual awakening.
Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there are so many different religions and belief systems, and they don't always align with the ideas we've been discussing.
No, they don't. And the Pleiadians acknowledge that
Okay.
it's definitely possible for someone to be spiritually awakened
Mm-hmm.
and still participate in a traditional religion.
Okay.
But they also point out that it can be a source of conflict.
Yeah, because if the religious institution or other members
Right.
hold very rigid beliefs,
Right.
there could be a clash between that and the more expansive perspective of awakening.
Exactly. That's exactly what they're saying.
Okay, so how do they reconcile that?
Well, they say, a lot of history's great spiritual teachers,
Mm-hmm.
think about like Jesus, Buddha, Rumi,
Yeah.
they operated within existing religious structures
Okay.
while also challenging those structures
All right.
and offering new ways of understanding spirituality.
So they were like pioneers.
They were
Yeah.
paving the way for a more inclusive and
Yeah.
expansive spirituality
Yeah.
that actually transcends dogma and fear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that seems to be the essence of what they're saying about spiritual awakening, right?
Yes.
It's about connecting with that inner spark
Mm-hmm.
and letting it guide you regardless of external structures or expectations.
Exactly.
So for those listening who are thinking, all right, this all sounds fascinating, but how do I know if I'm actually spiritually awakened?
Right.
Like, what do they say?
They offer a surprisingly simple
Okay.
self-assessment.
All right.
Ask yourself, do you experience love, compassion?
True power, joy, and a sense of purpose
Okay.
on a daily basis, not
Yeah.
just occasionally,
Right.
but as a consistent part of your experience.
Okay. That's a pretty high bar.
It is.
But I love that they're emphasizing those qualities as lived experiences,
Right.
not just like theoretical concepts.
It's about the embodiment,
Yeah.
not just the intellectual understanding.
And when they talk about power,
Yeah.
it's not about dominating others.
No, it's not.
It's a different kind of power.
Right. They make a really clear distinction between true power
Okay.
and what they call force.
Uh-huh.
True power comes from self-belief, connection to source,
Mm-hmm.
worthiness, and the absence of judgment.
Okay.
It's about aligning with your higher mind and embracing passion,
Yeah.
joy, and bliss.
So it's like that inner strength and wisdom.
Yes.
Yeah.
That comes from knowing who you are and what you're here to do.
And they say surrendering to a higher purpose is key.
Yes.
It's not about ego.
It's about aligning with the flow of the universe.
Exactly. It's about letting go of that control.
Wow. We covered a lot of ground.
Why did?
Love, service, self-acceptance, death.
Yeah, soul agreements, religion.
What's standing out to you as particularly impactful from this?
You know, what really resonates with me is their emphasis on integration.
Cool.
It's not just about having these lofty spiritual experiences.
Right.
It's about actually embodying those qualities
Mm-hmm.
in your everyday life, in your relationships, your work,
Yeah, like putting it into practice.
putting it into practice.
And that's what makes it feel attainable.
It does.
It's not about being some perfect ethereal being.
Right.
It's about taking these insights
Yes.
and like weaving them into the fabric of your human experience.
Exactly. It's an ongoing process.
Yeah, a journey.
A journey, not a destination.
This is so much to unpack.
I know.
And we've only just scratched the surface. We'll dive deeper into some of the specific challenges and opportunities that come with actually living this awakened path.
I'm looking forward to that.
Stay with us.
We hope you enjoy this discussion, which is generated by Notebook LM software to explain and expand on the Pleiadian Council's comments on spiritual awakening. Originally channeled by Dante Starshine, it does seem to make many of the details really clear.
Welcome back. You know, before the break, we were talking about soul agreements.
Yeah, that really got me thinking.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to choose a challenging career, right?
Right.
Or a challenging relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea that we would actually choose to have physical limitations
Yeah.
or illness, that's a whole other level.
It's definitely a concept that pushes us beyond our comfort zones, but the Pleiadians suggest that these experiences, as difficult as they are, can actually be opportunities for really profound spiritual growth.
Okay.
They say it's like choosing to play the game on a harder difficulty setting.
Yeah.
It's more challenging.
Yeah.
But the rewards are greater.
Okay, I kind of get that analogy.
Yeah.
But how does that actually play out in real life?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if someone's dealing with a chronic illness, how is that supposed to be helpful
Yeah.
for their spiritual awakening?
Well, they emphasize that it's not about denying the pain or suffering,
Okay.
but rather about shifting our perspective. They say by choosing these challenges, we're actually given the opportunity to develop qualities like resilience, compassion, and acceptance in ways that wouldn't be possible without those experiences.
So it's like those challenges become a crucible
Yes,
for growth, right?
exactly.
You're forced to.
You're pushed.
Yeah.
You're pushed to your limits.
And connect with a strength
Yes.
that you maybe didn't even know you had.
That you didn't know you had.
Exactly.
And they say sometimes these limitations can even be a way of serving others,
Okay.
of showing them that it's possible to find peace and joy,
Mm-hmm.
even in the midst of really difficult circumstances.
Like there being an example.
Exactly. Think about the
God.
people who inspire us with their courage and strength,
Yeah.
despite facing immense challenges.
Yeah, they're living it. They're showing us.
We're living it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so the Pleiadians are suggesting that as we become more spiritually awakened,
Mm-hmm.
we actually become more sensitive to the energy around us,
Yes.
both positive and negative.
Both, yeah.
So we were talking earlier about how sometimes people react negatively to our presence.
Right.
and how that could be a sign that our energy is like pushing them to grow.
Mm-hmm.
What about the flip side of that?
Mm-hmm.
Like how do we cultivate and amplify that positive energy?
Well, they're really big on presence.
Okay.
Like not just physically being somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
but being fully present in the moment
Right. Right. Without getting lost in thoughts.
without getting
Right.
lost in your thoughts about the past or worries about the future.
Easier said than done.
It is easier said than done.
Right. I mean, our minds are constantly bombarded with stuff.
How do they suggest we do that?
Well, they're huge advocates for meditation
Okay.
and mindfulness practices.
Mm-hmm.
They say these practices help you to quiet
Right.
the mental chatter
Yeah.
and create space
Okay.
for that inner peace to emerge.
So it's like training your mind to be more focused.
It is. It's like a muscle.
Yeah.
You can strengthen it
Yeah.
with practice.
Okay.
And they say that this has a ripple effect.
Mm.
The more present you are,
Yeah.
the more you can help others
Okay.
find that stillness within themselves.
It's like your presence is calming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like a calming influence in a world that's constantly in overdrive.
And that's a beautiful idea.
It is.
That just by being more present,
Mm.
we can help shift the collective energy
Yeah.
to a more peaceful place.
Yes.
Okay, so what else do they suggest?
Well, they also say that gratitude
Oh, yeah.
is a powerful tool.
Yeah, I love gratitude.
Yeah. It's amazing.
It's amazing how shifting your focus
Yeah.
to what you're grateful for can really change things.
It really can. And they
Yeah.
take it a step further.
Okay.
And they suggest expressing gratitude for the challenges
Oh.
which you face as well. Not in a way that minimizes the pain or
Yeah.
difficulty,
Right.
but rather as a way of acknowledging the opportunity for growth
Okay.
that those challenges present.
So it's like instead of resisting the difficult stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you're actually embracing it
You're acknowledging it
Yeah.
and finding the lessons within it.
and finding the good in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's about shifting from a victim mentality to one of empowerment, seeing ourselves as co-creators of our reality, even in the face of adversity.
So we're not just like powerless,
Right.
Yeah, to what's
Right.
happening.
Exactly. We have a choice
Yeah.
in how we respond.
Okay. And they say this ties into forgiveness
Yes.
of ourselves,
Mhm.
with others. Forgiveness can be tough though,
It can.
especially when we've been hurt or wronged.
Absolutely.
So what's the Pleiadian perspective on forgiveness?
While they emphasize that holding on to anger and resentment
Yeah.
really creates more suffering.
Right.
It's like drinking poison
Yeah.
and expecting the other person to die.
Right.
They're not saying to
Yeah.
condone harmful actions,
Right.
but rather to release
Mm-hmm.
the negative energy that those actions have created within you.
It's about freeing yourself
Yes.
from that burden.
Recognizing that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself.
Exactly.
They're also big on self-forgiveness,
They are.
which I think can be even harder.
It can be
Yeah.
than forgiving someone else.
Yeah.
It's about acknowledging
Mm-hmm.
your imperfections,
Mm-hmm.
learning from your mistakes,
Yeah.
and extending compassion and grace
Right. Right.
to yourself.
We're so hard on ourselves.
We are so quick to judge
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and hold on to guilt and shame,
Yeah.
but they're saying true spiritual growth
Mm-hmm.
requires us to let go of that,
Right. Right.
to embrace our wholeness,
Yeah.
flaws, and all.
Our imperfections.
Yes. And they remind us that self-care is a crucial part of this process.
Oh yeah, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
Right. If you're not taking care of yourself,
Mm.
you can't really show up for others.
Right.
So what do they say about self-care?
They encourage us to prioritize
Okay.
our physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being.
So it's not about like following a set of rules. It's
Yeah.
about figuring out what works for you.
It's about tuning in
Yeah.
to your own needs
Okay.
and honoring them.
And they're saying.
And they say
Yeah.
even those who are spiritually awakened
Mm.
will still experience negative emotions.
Oh, okay.
Anger, sadness,
Yeah.
frustration, all of that.
So it's okay to not be okay.
It's okay
Yeah.
to not be okay all the time. It's not about being like positive and happy all the time
Yeah,
to
yeah.
be spiritual.
They actually caution against suppressing or denying those emotions
Wow.
because they say
Yeah.
when we resist those feelings,
Mhm.
we actually give them more power.
It's like trying to push a beach ball underwater.
Exactly.
It just pops back up.
It just pops back up.
Yeah.
They suggest allowing ourselves
Mhm.
to feel with those emotions fully
Yeah.
without judgment or resistance.
Okay.
They even recommend
Yeah.
literally naming the emotion you're feeling,
Oh, interesting.
like saying, I'm feeling angry
Yeah.
or I'm feeling sad, as a way of creating some distance
Hmm.
and observing it without getting completely swept away by it.
You're acknowledging it,
Yes,
but you're not letting it control you.
exactly.
Okay. What about like journaling or talking to a therapist?
Yes, they recommend practices like that.
Okay.
Journaling, talking to a trusted friend or therapist,
Mm.
or engaging in creative expression
Yeah. Yeah.
as healthy ways to process
Okay.
and release those emotions.
What about movement and exercise?
Absolutely. They
Right.
emphasize that we are energetic beings
Right.
and that movement
Yeah.
is essential for maintaining a healthy flow of energy.
So it's not just about cultivating the positive.
Right.
It's also about releasing the negative.
It's about managing and releasing that negative energy
Okay.
in healthy ways.
Really doesn't get stuck.
So it doesn't become stagnant and create blockages.
Right. Okay.
It's about finding that balance,
Yeah.
recognizing that life
Mm.
is a tapestry of both light and shadow,
Right.
and that we can learn and grow.
Yeah. There's beauty in both.
There is.
Yeah.
And speaking of beauty,
Okay.
the Pleiadians have some fascinating insights
Oh, tell me more.
on how spiritual awakening impacts our perception of beauty.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Okay. So you were saying the Pleiadians talk about how spiritual awakening changes how we see beauty.
Yeah, they suggest that as we awaken, we start to become more attuned to beauty in all its forms,
Okay.
like nature, art, human connection,
Right.
even the smallest, simplest things. It's like our senses are heightened and we're able to perceive the world
Yeah.
through more vibrant, like almost magical lens.
Yeah. It's like when you're like, you fall in love and everything seems beautiful.
Right, right.
Maybe it's a similar kind of shift.
They actually say it's more than just a feeling.
Okay.
They believe that beauty is a reflection
Mm-hmm.
of the divine.
Oh, interesting.
So when you appreciate beauty,
Yeah.
you're actually connecting with a
Okay.
higher frequency,
Mm-hmm.
aligning yourself with the love and harmony
Okay.
that permeates the universe.
So it's like a reminder
It is.
that even in a chaotic world,
Mm-hmm.
there's still this like underlying order,
Yeah.
this divine spark that connects everything. And the more we appreciate beauty,
Mm-hmm.
the more we invite that energy in.
They say that, yeah, the more you cultivate that appreciation,
Okay.
the more you invite that divine energy into your life.
So it's not just about appreciating pretty things.
Right.
It's about recognizing the sacredness
Yes.
in everything.
In everything.
Okay. And they tie this into the concept of purpose,
They do.
which, we've talked about purpose,
Mm.
how it shifts as we awaken.
Yeah.
Is that what they're talking about?
That's part of it.
Okay.
They say, as you connect with your higher self,
Mm-hmm.
your sense of purpose often shifts
Okay.
from ego-driven achievements
Right.
to a more soul-driven desire to serve a greater good.
So less about what's in it for me,
Exactly.
more about how can I make a difference.
Yeah.
It's like a me to a we mentality.
Yeah.
You're recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings.
Yeah.
It's like be the change you want to see,
Right.
but on a deeper level.
On a deeper level, it's about realizing
Mm-hmm.
that your well-being
Yeah.
is connected to the well-being of everyone,
Everyone.
everything around you.
Okay. So finding your purpose,
Yeah.
it's not always a straight line.
It's not.
Right.
No, they say it can involve a lot of exploration,
Mm.
trial and error,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe even detours along the way.
Okay. So it's not like we just wake up and know exactly what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
It's an unfolding.
It's an unfolding.
Yeah.
It's a process.
What if you're feeling lost or confused?
Well, they have a beautifully simple suggestion.
Okay.
Follow your joy.
Uh-huh.
What brings you a sense of aliveness, fulfillment, excitement.
Okay. That's so much better than follow your passion,
Right.
because passion can feel so intense.
It can,
Joy feels lighter,
right. It's more sustainable.
sustainable. It's more gentle.
Yeah.
They say when you're aligned with your soul purpose,
Yeah.
it feels effortless.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're in flow, right? You're in the zone.
You're in the zone doing what you were born to do
So it's not about forcing it.
No.
It's about tuning in
Tuning in
to what feels good.
to what feels good, to your intuition.
Right, right.
And remember, even though you're on a unique path,
Mm-hmm.
you're never truly alone.
Okay.
You're always connected to source,
Okay.
to the universe,
Right.
to this unseen network of support
Yeah.
that's always guiding you.
It's like we're all part of this big cosmic orchestra
Yes.
playing our own unique instrument.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And that brings us
Yeah.
to the heart of their message about spiritual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
It's a journey of remembering
Okay.
who you truly are.
Yeah.
It's about shedding those layers of conditioning,
Mhm.
those limiting beliefs that have held you back,
Right.
and reclaiming that radiant,
Yeah.
loving,
Powerful.
powerful being you were born to be.
It's a message of hope,
It is.
empowerment, and infinite possibility.
It's a reminder that you're not broken, lost, or alone.
Mm-hmm.
You are a divine spark of consciousness,
Right.
and you have the power
Yeah.
to create a world
Okay.
that reflects the love, beauty, and harmony
Hmm.
that resides within you.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
As always, we encourage you to take what resonates
Mm-hmm.
and leave the rest.
Yeah.
Explore these ideas further, reflect on what spiritual awakening means to you.
Yes.
And most importantly, trust your own inner guidance.
Trust yourself.
Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
On the spaceship of Babel, we are gliding through the stars on a 5-year mission beyond Jupiter and Mars. A celestial encounter on a future Noah's Ark, and you won't hear us coming if you whisper in the dark. There's an Ewok close behind me as we try to disembark here. Obi-Wan Kenobi as we whisper in the dark.